Hey folks, welcome back to the shop. It is currently not raining. It was just pouring down rain. Anyway, somebody somewhere might have been, you know, some ancient wisdom from, the 1500s or something. But anyway, someone once said that a woodworker, to be a woodworker, should at least be able to build a box. Well, I have to build a box. I have built boxes in the past, a couple of which I'm moderately proud of. Maybe I'll show you them. But I have to build a box to a specific size because there's an insert that sets in it, and I'll show you all that later. Excuse me. It has to be 8 3/4 by 4 5/8. Now, full disclosure, this is the third time I'm starting this video. What a comedy of errors I ran into. I was going to make a box joint box without a box joint jig. I have done that in the past, and it's worked out fine. This time it did not. Nothing matched up. Nothing worked. So I started thinking, well, my pieces aren't cut straight. The obvious offender would be that because it's been apart and put back together a couple times. So I ran some tests on that, and actually I have it cutting 99.9% square. So I turned to my table saw, which I know is 100% spot on until it's not. So my fence was out just a little bit. I don't know when it happened or why it happened, but the fence was out a little bit. So I got that dialed in. Now I'm going to make a different kind of box because I have never made a mitered corner box. I don't have my spline jig anymore, so I had to make a new spline jig, which actually isn't completely done yet. I still have to add some pieces to it. But that's what's on the agenda today. The aforementioned measurements for my box, it has to be 2 inches high, going to get cut approximately right in the middle. But I thought I'd start off with an interesting experiment. I resawed some wood because that's what I do. I'll show you my new addition that makes that a lot easier. But like in any case, I'm trying to get to a 1/2 inch. So I'm cutting about 5/8, allowing for mill. And of course, you resaw a piece of wood and instantly it bananas on you. So I saw somewhere someone did this experiment, and I never thought I'd try it. But I took my banana boards and I put them so the banana is down, put a sliver of wood under them, and clamped them. So now essentially they are a reversed rainbow. So here you can see what I'm talking about. Under here there is a sliver of wood. When I take these clamps off, you'll see it. But these were bowed this way. And so I put that bow that way with the sliver of wood under it, clamped it. You can see it now has the reverse effect. Let's see if it worked. Take the clamps off. Okay, so we have basically a tail of 3 boards because I stacked them on top of each other and clamped them that way. And actually that is milled mostly. That one is a little bit, but not bad. This one's very little. And this one's, that one's, oh, I didn't mill the top of that. Okay. Anyway, so it might work if I tried to clamp a single board and add in an extra shim to kind of go past it because it's going to recurve. I don't know, something to think about in the future. Let me know if you've ever done that, if you've ever pulled the bow out of a board by clamping it and letting it sit overnight. If you've had good luck with it. Like I said, I tried to clamp 3 at one time. Probably not a good idea. Anyway, they're close enough that I can use them, and that's the most important thing. So first thing I'm going to do is get these all milled down to the same size, same thickness. I don't think I'm going to need to use all of them, but let's get them milled down so that I can use them, and then we'll go from there. Oh, along with the other comedy of errors that was going on in the world with the saw and everything else, I had a monster clog in my dust hose. It's like a rainy day on a Monday. Those things always get me down. What are we working with here? So I have one piece over there that's finished milled. Excuse me, I'd like to get these down to that, which is just under a 1/2 inch. And I should have room on all of these to do that. Uh-oh, I'm gonna need a new battery. Okay, so let's get started with that. Oh, where's, okay. Doctor's orders. Okay, so my logic tells me that I need to cut these down to 2-inch strips, but my logic is flawed. Here's why. My bottom is going to be, what is that, quarter inch MDF. My top, I have a piece milled over there for an oak top to match the sides. So I need my inside to be specific. So it needs to be about 1.5 inches. So I need to take that into consideration when I do this. Odds are it's going to be fine, but if it's not fine, I've just wasted a lot of wood. So I need to take a quick second, map that out, see what that looks like, and then decide how much space I have in the middle. So this isn't gonna, I gotta go out in the rain and go get the actual insert that I'm using, and I'll probably get wet. I'll be right back. Okay, upon further review, 1.5 inches is what I need for my insert. Things stick up a little bit. So conceivably, I would have exactly the right amount of room using a 1/4 inch top and a 1/4 inch bottom. So I think I'm going to add an 1/8 inch to that, which doesn't seem like much, but it'll keep everything from crushing. So I'm going to cut these at 2 1/8. I am surfaced on 3 sides. Get off of there. And so, you know, as long as your surface side is against the fence, which is, oh, by the way, now straight, you should be good. 2 1/8. 2. Well, that might be more like, you know, somewhere in there. Okay. Set my height. All right. I'm going to take a quick second and just look at what I got here. That's not milled all the way. Probably have to run that through again. Oh, but that's okay because I like these 2 pieces. So I'm going to go with these 2 for the making of the box. I'm that weird guy that likes red oak grain, okay? Sue me. What are you going to do? All right, so I am at 2 1/8. I just need to, I need to change the old hoserama. So, all right, we'll get these cut up. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take a second now that those are cut. This is my top, and that's my boring bottom. I want to go ahead and get these cut down to size because at least then I know that this is my footprint. Okay, I've never built miter box before, miter saw, miter angle type of box. You know what I'm saying? So this is how I'm going to do it. Okay, I know I have one straight edge here, probably on both sides, but we're going to cut that down, and I'm going to cut this down. And am I even still? Yeah, dust collection still hooked up. And that way I know I need to build around this. That's what I'm trying to get to. Oh, she's gonna just fit. So after going back and forth in my mind, which wasn't a very long trip, I think I'm going to do all my 45s on the table saw, because that's one thing I haven't tested with the miter saw since I fixed it was the 45s, and I know with this, when I set it to a 45, it's going to be a 45. Oh, except I blew right by it. Coming back. Hey, come on, slow down now. Yeah. Oh, bingo, bongo, boingo. Okay. Big question is, that's not going to hit my blade. Okay. Let's turn that off. 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 I don't remember where I used to hang that. Let's put it right there. Now, I certainly don't need this much blade sticking up. So let's go ahead and get rid of some of that. So now if I measure inside to inside, 8 3/4, cannot get a hold of my pencil. Just going to put me right here. I don't have nothing here that I normally do. Okay. That is spot on the line. Okay, I just need to cut all my pieces. That one's already started. Oh, clean that up a little bit. I'll get back to you when we're done. Coffee. Okay, after 14,003,762 cuts and finding out that my measurement was wrong, I was a full inch off. I now have something that looks like it's going to be box. Now, nothing's glued together yet, and I'm going to fine tune it and make sure it's actually good, because what I've learned is I just tend to throw glue on stuff and not check. But so far it looks all right. I'm not sure in my shop right now what's square and what's not. Okay, I need to do a deep dive on all of my tools and find out what's square and what's not. That, depending on how I use it, is square. The table saw, depending on how I use it, is square. I don't understand. I need to do a deep dive and find out what's square and what's not. My 45s all look great, so that part is good. So I'm going to fine tune this, start getting it ready to get into glue. I'm not sanding nothing until it's all put together. So let me just double check all my angles and make sure my measurements are all okay, and then we'll start gluing it up. Okay, it seems like everything's going to fit. I double checked it, I triple checked it, I squinted, I closed one eye. It's at least going to be close. I've decided to come to the flattest thing in my shop, which is my table saw top. And I know it's a little bit cringeworthy because I'm about to put glue on something and put it on my... I'll try to take precautions. What I've done is taped up. Once I had them what I considered to be in the right place, I went ahead and taped them together. So on the underside is tape. That's not what I'm going to use to clamp though, but that's okay. So now we just glue up. So I'm not going to use like an exorbitant amount of glue. I mean, I'm going to use glue, but there is going to be splines put in these also. So I guess essentially the glue is just for the time being, I guess. You know what I didn't glue? Didn't put none on this part. Yeah, dummy. A little bit of that. A little bit of that. Yeah, and this is where I'm going to put it down because it has to be flat. If it ain't flat, then really, what's the point of all this? I'll put another piece of tape on here. My square's over there, which is the wrong place for it at this moment. Get out of town. Possum on a gum bush. That might be all right. Who'd have thunk it? Okay, that's, like I said, just to hold that for the time being. I got this crazy thing. Let's see if I remember how to use it. Nope, apparently not. Don't you fall. You're going to fall. Don't fall. I told you not to fall. You're falling anyway. Go ahead and close that one. I hear my wife in there playing piano. She hadn't played piano in 6 months. And I know she's nervous because she has to play for an event tonight. But she'll do fine. She's a really good piano player. I'm just going to crank the snot out of this, basically. Make sure we're still square. Yes. Yes. Well, that's in the way, but yes. All right. So I'm just going to put a few cranks on this. Again, I want it to be flat. I don't know how many boxes I've made that, in picture frames too, I crank it and I come back out and the whole thing twisted. Make me crazy. Okay. Well, that's all the damage I can do for today, unfortunately. That's not true. I can come back out after she leaves and do some more work because by then this should be set up enough. At least put my spline jig together. I can't spline nothing with. If you guys want to know how, if you have any interest in how a spline jig goes together or anything like that, I can do a video on one. Same with the picture frame jig, which to me they seem self-explanatory, but they may not be. So if you guys have any interest in that, let me know. I can do that. I certainly can. Okay, this is sitting flat, and that makes me happy. So I'm going to go make pizza bread now. Okay, it is. I don't know what the percentage is. 90% glued up. I didn't put the bottom in yet because I want to have it in pieces before I do that, so that I can make sure it's at the right depth and all of that. But now is that fun and scary time where I get to cut this thing in half. A little bit scary given that I have this notion that nothing is square in my shop. I double checked the fence. I just went through and re-leveled my throat plate, checked that the fence is level to the top, measured from the fence to the blade. It's got to be, right? I don't know. We'll find out. I'm actually set a little bit, well, no, maybe not. I thought I was set a little bit high, but we'll go with it and see what happens. I don't even know where my dust collector's at. All right, let's cut this. Dust collector engaged. Fun and scary. Let's just hush now. Okay, ready to glue the bottom in. I don't know if there's rules about gluing MDF or not. I don't know. So we're just going to glue it. Put it together and see if it falls apart. This particular box isn't carrying a whole lot of weight of any sort. Well, we could say figuratively when you see what it's for. So anyway, my point is it's not carrying a whole lot of weight. It's not like it's going to be a bank vault or anything. So we'll just glue her in. I know this is the top, which is actually the bottom, so it's going to go in this way. Okay, and this is exactly why I wanted to have this in two pieces, because that's wanting to sink in further. Yes, I'm going to get glue on my table saw. Okay, there we go. Okay, so glue is dry. Everything looks good. Now I got to cut splines in this. Now, I could have done this before I cut the box in half, or I could do it after. It doesn't matter. I'm going to get one spline for the top on each corner, one spline on the bottom of each corner. And then I'll kind of bring you in and show you what this looks like. I had to finish my spline jig first because it wasn't done. And I think I burned the other one before I moved. So I'll bring you in here and kind of show you how I'm setting this up. My blade, too close. My blade, you want that blade on the top of its rotation. Slide your workpiece up through my material right here. And to me, that's good. So I'll run one of these through and we'll see what it looks like. So the other thing I failed to mention was setting up where your blade's going to come through as far as height, or not height, width, whatever, where the spline's going to end up. Okay. And that's just a matter of, you can eyeball the blade. When I built my jig, I brought these pieces down further than what they used to be before, so I actually have to do math. I know my top is 1 inch, so if I simply measure an inch from this piece, because that's what I'm clamped to, or I'm sorry, 1/2 inch, that'll put it right in the middle. Okay, that's sort of the plan. Okay, I chose to double cut mine for a little extra thickness because I had some strips of that Brazilian cherry. I think that's the way you need to say that, right? Brazilian, like Ricardo Montalban, Corinthian leather, right? Okay. Anyway, so I just milled it down. Get in there now. So I had decent friction fit, and so we're going to glue that in, and that's my splines. It's not just for decoration. You know, mitered corners and glue aren't really enough to hold it together. So now I'm going to get well, first you got to cut some triangles. I got to cut triangles. And I'll do that over at the bandsaw. Hey, let me show you real quick. Stay right there, don't go anywhere. So the newest edition, Pastor Fred's shop, the Craftsman 12-inch bandsaw / sander. I don't know why it says sander. I'm not sanding on this. Got it from a friend who got it from a friend who got it from another. You've been messing around. REO Speedwagon fans, come on out. So the only thing I've done, here's something odd. when I plugged this in, it ran backwards. The blade ran from bottom to top. Makes absolutely zero sense. Now, I've heard of this happening before. I've read about this happening before. Just for some reason, and no fault to whoever wired anything, but sometimes it reads the polarity backwards, and the motor runs backwards. So all I did was switch the wires, switch the polarity in the motor, and it runs fine. I made this fence for it for resawing, which it does beautifully. You got to take your time. You're still working with about a 3/8 blade, but it resaws, which is exactly what I wanted it to do. So now I'm going to cut some triangles out with this and get them glued in and start the sanding process. Great. Okay, so a couple different ways you can do this next part. I have my splines in, but obviously that's not going to work. Now, if you have a flush cut saw, you can use that. I do not, but I got the bandsaw. And don't forget, you're going to sand this, so you don't got to get right up against it. Just get close and let the sandpaper do the work. Okay, now the fun part, not really, but sand it down, get some finish on it. I'm probably going to go with polyurethane again, because this is a box that's going to just get thrown in the car. It's going to get beat around, and I want a good solid finish on it. So yeah, when you're doing the inside, be very careful, because you want this to match up when you're done. So if you have to do any sanding there, just be gentle. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm going to start with an 80 up to 120. I have one piece of 120 left, and I might even jump up to a 220. Who knows? I don't know. Normally I go to a 120 in poly, so I don't know. I know I'm going to start with an 80. Okay, so 2 coats of poly on the box. It looks really nice. Came out really good, actually. I'm really happy with it. And I went down to the local Ace Hardware store, and you can tell it was an Ace Hardware store because it says so right there. Anyway, got some hinges and a decorative catch. I was telling my wife that I am a decorative catch. Anyway, so now I just have to put these on. I wanted to get some kind of hidden hinges or something like that. I'm trying to, again, overcomplicate everything. But that would have involved Amazon and all of that. And so I just went down and got basic hinges. So these are 1-inch hinges, which I guess means they're 1 inch wide. And, the hinge pin's going to stick out the back, and I don't really care. So just got to get these on, got to get the latch on, and we can call this bad boy done. So that's next. I'll bring you in here and show you what I'm doing as far as, that's got screws in it. So I probably need to drill. Okay, so essentially what I've done is I've laid the hinge out to where I wanted it. I came 1.5 inches in, let's say, to the beginning of the hinge. Okay. And I should have bought them fancy drill bits that are self-centering when I saw them, and I didn't. So I took a pencil and drew the circle, used a center punch, punched them out, drilled my holes following the instructions. Can you believe it? That came with the package. It said 1/16 for the screws. So now all I do is put these on, line the holes up, run the screws in, my hinges are in. Just that simple. Now, you might be tempted to just grab your drill and hammer these in. Don't do that. Just, get a screwdriver. You'll see I have an assortment of Phillips screwdrivers, and I did that because I wanted to find the one that fits the best for putting these screws in. Ask me how I know. These things will strip out if you look at them cross-eyed. So that one seems like it's slipping in there. That one isn't a whole lot better. We're going to hold on to that. This is the cheapest one I own. Oh, that actually feels pretty good. We're going to go with that one. All right, I'm going to get all of them started before I start cranking down on them, because I know me, and I would almost guarantee that my holes aren't lined up. I'm going to tell you what, I am so spoiled now. We had past 2 days, look, magnetic. What a trip. Oh, never going to find that one. We had 2 days of absolutely, actually about a week of absolutely beautiful weather. Heck, I went to Bristol Speedway yesterday and watched a race. In a t-shirt, that screwdriver is not going to work. And now it's, you know, it's in the 40s and it feels like it's freezing. Can't get my big sausage fingers to work here. Okay, and all we're doing is just screwing these in, and then I'll bring you back in whenever we're ready to put the decorative catch on. Okay, hinges are on, and they're doing hinge things. So, something I failed to mention. A couple of things, actually. A little crooked. Orient the box the way that it's supposed to be and clamp it in place. Okay. Now, when I started this project, I drew orientation marks on the front, so I knew which way the box went. Well, when you sand, of course, that's going to go away. Now, in my bottom, what is the bottom of the box? There's an insert that goes in here, so you're not going to see this, so I simply wrote front on that. Well, what do you do with the top? Because it's an oak top. Well, right in, you can't see it, right in here on the inside of the lid, a very inconspicuous X that I'm the only person that's going to know it's there. But that way I know which way the box goes together. Because I would think that if it's backwards, it's not going to go, I need to tighten those screws up more. It's not going to go together right. So now for the decorative catch. And these are going to be interesting because they come with brass nails instead of screws. That should be fun. Let me figure this out and I'll bring you back in. Okay, that's on. And I'm sorry that I didn't film it going on, because once the nails were in, I want to go pull them back out. These things are a nightmare. You got little bitty tiny, small is what I'm trying to say. You got small nails. And I have big hammer. So I wish I had some great advice for you if you're doing this. Needle nose pliers to hold the nail while you're trying to get it started, and then to straighten it whenever you bend it, because it's going to happen. Mine is not 100% straight, but it latches, and that's all I care about. So that's the box. Holy cow. All right. The only thing left to do is put the insert in. All right, folks, there it is. It's done. I really love the Brazilian cherry against that red oak. It looks amazing. And what was the purpose for me building this? I said it has to be a specific size for a specific purpose. It's my travel communion set. I told you, I'm really a pastor. This is when I go visit people that can't get out, I take communion to them. The old box was getting pretty beat up and it was in bad shape. Now I have this beautiful thing. But there ain't nothing more beautiful than communion. Thanks for watching, folks. God bless you. I'll see you on the next one.